Hey, what's up? Ian here, and this is the best sounding multi-driver IEM that I have heard so far, and it is the Kiwiears Quintet. It's got 4 different types of drivers, 5 drivers on each side, and the retail price for this is $220. So if you guys are interested to find out more, please check out the unaffiliated link in the description below. So in this video, I'm going to go through the accessories, design, build quality, fit and comfort, my sound impression, and I guess I don't need to conclude because I think you already know if I will recommend this or not. Okay, so let's not waste any time. Alright, so let's just go straight into the specifications for this. There are 4 different types of drivers. As I mentioned, it's got a 10mm DLC dynamic driver, 1 piezo driver, 2 balance armatures, 1 planar driver. The frequency range is 20 to 30,000 Hz, and the impedance is 32 ohms, and the sensitivity is 108. And as for accessories, it comes with a carrying case, right? Pretty typical Kiwiears carrying case. It's got 2 different types of ear tips. One is a wide bore, one is a narrow bore, well, normal bore. If you want more treble, use the wide bore. Okay, and then you get 1 cable. This is well, braided cable. It's got 4 cores on it, and it's link braided, as you can see. It's kind of grippy, right? And it's got a chin slider and a Y splitter here, and the ear hooks are nice and soft. Okay, as you can see, it's terminated with a 2-pin to the IEM. So overall, the cable is pretty good, right? It's yeah, I can feel that it's a quality cable. It's just that it's a little bit on the grippy side. Okay, and that's for the accessories. Let me just put them one side. And this is the IEM. Now, this is a very simple design. There is no frills about it. It's basically, yeah, very simplistic look. The faceplate is a silver matte finish, and it's got the embossed logo on the faceplate, and on the other side is the embossed name of the IEM. On the inner shell, you have resin. I think it's made of resin, and it's the shape of it is pretty typical of an IEM. It's got a fin here to give it more balance when it's in your ears. The 2-pin connector is up here. The nozzle is part of the inner shell itself, and it's got a, I think it's a filter, a paper filter. Yeah, paper filter. Right, so very simple design and very normal shape. So in terms of fit and comfort, these naturally fit my ear very well. The only thing is that it's a little bit on the long side, and it comes out from my ears. Yeah, so it's a little bit on the chunky side. It's quite long, right, and it juts out from my ear. But other than that, doesn't give me any discomfort or any misfit to my inner ear, and I can wear this the entire day with no discomfort at all, and no fatigue. Okay, in terms of seal, it's pretty okay with the stock ear tips, but I've been using my own CP145 with this, and it sounds really great, and it gives me a very good seal with the CP145. Okay, so now let's talk about sound. First, let's talk about drivability. This is actually pretty easy to drive, not the easiest and not the hardest to drive, somewhere in the middle. I've been using it with my iPhone, my iPad, my dongles, my DAPs. So most of them can drive this, and I've been listening to a very comfortable level of about 40% volume. So yeah, very easy to drive. Now in terms of gear matching, this is quite a warm and fun and casual type of sound, more balanced, I would say. So I would match it with something which is a bit warmer. So things like Hybees, they sound a little bit more balanced, not very warm, okay, which is just nice, okay. But I wouldn't match it with the Shangling's M0 Pro. This one is a little bit too dry and too thin for it. In terms of dongles, I would go with something like the FC6, which is warm sounding. It's got you know, the Darwin on this, and it makes it very warm and nice. I wouldn't go with the M15. It's a little bit too dry and too thin for this IEM. Alright, so that's the gear that I would recommend. Now let's talk about tone and timbre. Now the tone on this is one of the best and the most realistic timbre that I've heard till date, and it's so unreal. I mean, it's very impressive. It feels as if I'm there in the performance. That's how real the timbre sounds. Very realistic, okay, and I love this timbre. Okay, that's one of the reasons why this is one of the best sounding IM that I have so far. Okay, now in terms of technicalities, and this is the next feature that's the reason why it's the best, because it's got one of the nicest and most realistic soundstage that I've heard. It sounds as if I'm in the performance itself, especially for live performances and orchestras. When I'm listening to Hans Zimmer, for example, it sounds as if I'm just sitting there in the theater and just listening to this live. Okay, that's how good the soundstage is. It's quite enveloping. It's got good height, good width. In fact, it's some sort of out of my head, and it sounds as good as headphones, I would say. Not as good as speakers, right? Speakers, you got that physical space between your ears and the speakers, but for this, it has got that capability to sound like a headphone, which has a little bit of that space from your ears to the earphones itself. Okay, so very realistic soundstage. The imaging and the sound separation on this is also very good. I can identify exactly where the instruments are, the violins, the drums, and everything else, the vocals. Is all nicely and naturally laid out and sounds so realistic. And the sound separation on this is so fantastic. You know, everything is all spaced out and is all precisely cut out in the soundstage itself. On busy tracks, you will not get overlapping of the sound. It will not sound like a mixed pot kind of thing, and it's so well separated. Okay, and the details on this is fantastic. I can pick up a lot of nuances on this, you know, the pluck of the guitar, the violins, the strum of the guitar, everything else, all that small little sound can be picked up by this IEM. And in terms of resolution, okay, resolution is not the best I've heard. It's not the most resolving. It sounds quite rounded, but it's very resolute. Okay, it's for a multi-driver, the coherence of the drivers itself, you know, is one of the best that I've heard lah, and it's very resolute in that sense. Okay, so that's for the technicalities. Now let's talk about the sound. Let me show you the graph. Alright, so this is the graph of the Quintet, and as you can see, it's V-shaped. In fact, it's a balanced tuned IEM with a little bit of deviation from the Harman curve. The dotted line is the Harman curve, by the way. So let's talk about the sub bass. Now, sub bass is just a little bit above the Harman curve, and the rumble is extended. It's very realistic, very engaging rumble. It's got good warmth, good note weight as well. It's not too heavy, not too light, and sounds very natural rumble. As for the mid bass is a little bit punchy, right? It's very fast mid bass. It bleeds into the mids as well, but it's very clear. It's very clearly segmented. Okay, yeah, it sounds like it's overlapping into the mids, but it's got a very clear separation from the mids and the mid bass. Okay, but very warm mid bass, very thumpy, and the impact is very good. It's not the most impactful, but I can feel that it's a very realistic impact. As for the mids, this is where the instruments live, and for instruments like the violins, the pianos, and most of the mid instruments, the wind instruments, they sound very realistic to me, very warm as well, very engaging, and when I listen to them, it's so sweet, especially flutes, right? They sound very sweet and very real to me, and the lower end of the flute and the higher end of the flute, they just sound so fantastic. Okay, and for vocals, male vocals and female vocals, this both sound great on this IEM. Male vocals got that authority there. It's not overwhelming type of authority. It's got good warmth and very real type of, and together with the sound stage, it sounds very nicely placed, especially on, you know, a 4-piece band or something like that. I can hear the vocals sometimes, you know, he's on this side, or in a rock band I can hear that he's somewhere in the middle, drums are in the back, you know, those kind of things. So the authority of the vocals is also very good. The sound separation is very good on this, and even though it's recessed, I can still hear the vocals very clearly. And as for female vocals, they've got that sweet sound, very angelic sound, and very pleasing and energetic. I wouldn't say it's very energetic, but just nice. You know, the energy from the female vocals is just nice. It's not too overwhelming and not too harsh as well. There's a little bit of sparkle there. There's also a little bit of laid backness to the female vocals. So it's just nice at the sweet spot for me to feel some emotional engagement when I listen to them, but at the same time they are not too overwhelming and harsh. Okay, so that's for the mids. In terms of the treble, right? Treble here, as you can see, the peanut gain is not a very energetic one. Okay, let me just zoom in if I can. Yeah, so it's not a very energetic peanut gain. At the same time, it's not a very bright treble. Okay, let me just move it here. So this part here, it makes this IEM feel very smooth, very relaxed listening, because, you know, this part here will lessen that harshness, at the same time make the vocals not so intense, not so in your face, not so glaring. Okay, so it's not very glaring, it's not very harsh, at the same time it's not very energetic as well. And also it's not a very bright IEM. That's, as mentioned before, it's kind of rounded, and this is the reason why that, you know, this IEM sounds a bit rounded, is because of this part here. It sounds a bit darkish, right? But it's not a very dark type of treble, but it's a bit darkish. At the same time, it makes this IEM sound very pleasing, very smooth. Okay, and also at this part here, the tail end, it brings back a bit of the air, a bit of the presence of the treble, and that's why, you know, the tail end and the roll off of the treble sounds a bit more natural, and it sounds pleasing as well. So my cymbal strikes, my hi-hats, my claps and all that, they sound nicely faded. So that's for the entire tuning of this, and I would say, you know, it's a very pleasing tuning. All right, it's not the most engaging tuning, but it's very fatigue free type of listening experience. So when I listen to a lot of genres, in fact this is actually a multi-genre IEM, you can listen to all kinds of genre on this, and it will play back the music very naturally, sounds very balanced, and together with this technical performance on this, it gives you a very realistic listening experience. Okay, so any genre, listen to it. Yeah, it's fun, right? It's casual, it's musical, and it's pretty organic. I wouldn't say very organic, but it's pretty organic, and yeah, sounds good, right? So I do really recommend this. In terms of price to performance, I think this is a very well priced IEM, right? At 220 bucks. It sounds well above its price point, and I really do recommend this. It's very good sounding, and if you have a shop near you in your country, and they have a demo unit, I do suggest for you to go and try it out, go hear it out. Don't take my words for it, because you know you need to listen to this to really understand how great these sound. Right, so that's it for now, and my review. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and learned something from this video, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and also please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And that's it for now. I hope you guys have a great day ahead, and I'll see you again in my next video. Cheers.